Season 3 of the 2012 series picks up right where we left off with that crazy Season 2 finale. This next season had so many dynamics and the plots were spectacular, along with some awesome new characters. The season was a roller coaster with really high highs and really low lows. Basically, the first quarter of the season is like when you're on a roller coaster and you're just going up, waiting for that first big drop. But you end up waiting for just a little bit too long. But once it drops, when the turtles go back to New York, that's when things get crazy. But I will save my rants on the seasons as a whole new video when I rank each season. Oh yeah, a little disclaimer here guys, it's been over a year since I've watched these episodes, so my memory may be just a little bit fuzzy on some things. And real quick, before we get into the list, I want to give a shout out to my 3 patrons, Jasmine Rodriguez, Kel Miller, and my newest, Dan Connor. I want to thank them all individually for pledging to me and just supporting me, support my passion. So thank you guys so much, and if you're interested, the link will be in the description. And definitely make sure you check out my top 10 episodes of seasons 1 and 2 if you haven't already. Those links will also be in the description. So let's jump right into it. Here are my top 10 episodes of season 3 of the 2012 series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A few honorable mentions go to Attack of the Mega Shredder, Dinosaur Scene in Sewers, Clash of the Mutanimals, and The Pig and the RHINO. Trust me, this season was stacked with good episodes. Number 10, Buried Secrets. This episode is the earliest episode from this season to make the list, being episode 3. The Turtles, April, and Casey are all still hiding out in the woods of upstate New York and make an accidental wild discovery in the basement of April's old family house. It turns out that there was a Krang ship underneath the house for hundreds of years, with April's long-lost mother inside it. The quick reunion was great and all, but Mikey's turtle senses knew something just wasn't right. Before long, Mom Thing began assaulting the turtles. Yeah, it wasn't really April's mom, but actually a Krang experiment with April's real mom's DNA and memories. But the experiment turned out to be dangerous to the Krang, so they deep froze it underground. April ends up being the last one standing against her mom monster, and uses her mental powers to conquer it. Imagine this from April's point of view, not seeing her mother for so long, to be reunited with her, to see her actually turn out to be a Krang monster and have to destroy it. How April overcame this emotional roller coaster is why this episode snuck onto this list. Number 9, Vision Quest. This is the other episode on this list that takes place during the gang's 8-episode time frame in the woods. This was actually the final episode of that arc, and although the arc itself went on for way too long, this episode made it all kind of worth it. Leonardo tells his brothers that they're getting too far away from actually being ninjas, and it's time to go on a 3-day nature mission to get in touch with themselves. Early on in the woods, Master Splinter's spirit manifests from a fire, and he tells the turtles that he is alive and well, but he instructs them that they must go out on their own to face spiritual demons and grow as ninjas. The turtles gear up in epic fashion and face epic spiritual villains. They each have to battle foot soldiers, but Donnie has to defeat Tiger Claw, Mikey has to defeat Razar, Raph has to defeat Fishface, and Leo has to defeat the Shredder. Those battles were all amazing. Trust me, they were epic. The way each turtle overcame their adversities was amazing. The turtles return from their mission and Leo states that it's time. They're ready to go back to New York. What a way to end an episode. I know a lot of people have this episode on their actual top 10 episodes of the entire series, but I think that the best was yet to come for season 3. Number 8, Serpent Hunt. This episode focuses a lot on Anton Zek and Ivan Steranko, 2 of my favorite characters from the entire series. It even has them getting mutated into Bebop and Rocksteady at the very end. The episode is actually all about everyone wanting to find and capture Karai in her serpent form. The way that the Krang have complete control over the entire city while this is going on just adds another crazy element to the episode. Zek and Steranko end up capturing Karai, but when they try to make a deal with the Shredder for her, the Turtles interrupt it, and all hell breaks loose. Karai fled the scene during the chaos, leaving the Shredder the most angry of all. He says that someone must pay for this situation, so he brings Zek and Steranko to Stockman's lab, and Bebop and Rocksteady are born. This episode was stacked. It had all of our favorite characters and furthered the season's plot perfectly. Number 7. Casey Jones vs. the Underworld. Although Casey Jones seems to be known amongst fans to be one of the most annoying characters in this whole series, this episode centered around him was surprisingly great. For starters, we got the debut of a new version of Hun, who is basically a purple dragon Bruce Lee. The Turtles just saved New York, and are finally moved back into the lair, but Casey isn't satisfied with just stopping the Krang. He wants to go vigilante mode in the streets. Casey gets in way over his head, spying on the Foot, the Purple Dragons, and the mob. Of course, the Turtles keep showing up to help out Casey, but it was Casey's hockey skills that ended up saving the day. They also discovered that the Shredder is in possession of a chemical that has mind control powers. This is just another thing that makes this Shredder almighty powerful. The fact that this episode actually makes Casey Jones likable, at least in this series, is enough for it to make this list. Number 6. The Fourfold Trap. This episode pays homage to the Saw movies. You know, those horror movies with that crazy jigsaw guy?
I want to play a game.
That alone was really cool. A mind-controlled Karai is actually the one behind all of this. She captured Mikey and Donnie with holograms of their closest friends, which lured Raph, Leo, and April to her. They were all defeated by Shredder's henchmen, and the Turtles were all put into their deadly contraptions. Splinter shows up, and after easily defeating some villains, he's forced to battle against his daughter Karai, aka Miwa. He's able to perform the healing hand on her, in an effort to get her out of her mind control, and it appears to work. But Splinter loses his grip on her and she falls into the sewers. The episode ends up with Splinter thinking that he'll never see his daughter again, but Karai, in the sewers, spits out the brain worm that was controlling her. The whole dynamic between Splinter and Karai is of course very captivating, but this episode also had some amazing dialogue amongst the Turtles. The way that they consoled Splinter to end the episode was very touching. Number 5. The Deadly Venom. You know how we just talked about Karai being mind-controlled by the Shredder through a brain worm? This is the episode where Stockman inserted that brain worm right into her ear. Just another wacko thing that the Shredder did in this series, putting a crazy dangerous mind-controlling worm into his fake daughter just so that she obeys his every word. Karai successfully captured and poisoned Raph, Mikey, and Casey, and she also poisoned April. Donnie and Leo set out to save the guys, but end up being poisoned as well. But Leonardo is mentally strong and uses a mantra that Splinter taught him to beat the Venom. Leo ended up using what Splinter taught him and seemingly mastered it, and came up super clutch and defeated Karai. He brought his brothers and Casey back to the lair to heal them, and Splinter was also able to use the mantra to heal April. He did it at the exact same time that Leo was using the mantra, and it made for an epic moment. Everyone thanked Leo for saving their lives, and Splinter was also very proud of Leo. It was a great moment, and it felt like a momentary victory for the team. Number 4. Battle for New York Parts 1 and 2. Yeah, now these remaining episodes are in another tier of awesome. The Turtles need to save New York from the Krang, and they got some new allies to help them out. These episodes were the debut of the Mighty Mutanimals, and they were definitely a fan favorite. The Turtles must go to Dimension X and save the innocent humans that have been mutated by the Krang. The Mighty Mutanimals and the Turtles must work together to save New York, but Slash, the leader of the Mutanimals, and Leo have some minor trouble trusting each other due to their past. Kurtzman informs the team that the Krang have a mutagen missile ready to hit Earth, mutating all of humanity into another Dimension X. They redirect the missile towards the sun and then hop into Dimension X after the mutanimals broke into the TCRI building. The almighty Savage Mikey comes back, who of course leads the way in Dimension X. Donnie whipped up some retro mutagen and Mikey piloted the Technodrome that they took over, and they ended up working together perfectly with the mutanimals to demutate and send every human back to Earth. Both teams saved the day, and the mutanimals and the turtles were now a well-oiled crime-fighting machine together. One weird thing to note about this episode was that the mutanimals on Earth and the turtles in Dimension X seemed to be working together in unison, but in a previous episode it was stated that time moves much faster in Dimension X. I think that this was just a very small plot hole. Regardless, this two-parter had you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. Number 3, Return to New York. Just the title of this episode alone holds so much meaning. The Turtles going back to New York to kick ass and take back what's theirs. Although they don't actually save New York for a couple more episodes in that two-parter that we just discussed, the Turtles head back to their home turf in search of Splinter, but find out that the city has been overrun by the Krang and the Foot. They bash into the quarantined New York City with a new and improved party wagon, and they realized what has just happened. The team has an emotional visit back to the old lair, and they actually find their master, but he is not the same sensei that he used to be. Instead, he's now a savage rat. He's captured and brought back to the Shredder, but of course the Shredder has to be as ruthless as possible and tell Stockman to restore Splinter's mind so that he can fully comprehend what's about to happen as Shredder finishes him. April actually restores his mind, but while the Turtles save their master, they have to first get through the 3 Shredder mutant clones. These guys are sick, and of course were also in the Return to New York saga of the 2003 series, which was based on the Mirage comics. Splinter defeats the clones, and the guys all escape from the Shredder and Tiger Claw. This episode wasn't exactly the world-saving epic that Battle for New York was, but I think what made me enjoy it so much was the fact that the gang was finally back in New York, and it just felt so right. Number 2, Tale of the Yokai. A staple episode in most incarnations of TMNT, the flashback episode showcases important events that lead to the Turtles' existence. The Turtles got sent back to feudal Japan, and got to literally live the events that led to Splinter and Shredder's brotherly hatred. The Turtles are in a tough spot here since they don't want to interfere with history because they can end up not ever coming to existence. But of course they get involved and warn Tang Shen that she must side with Yoshi and not Saki, or the entire world will be at risk. We also get one of the cutest shots in Ninja Turtles history with Leo holding baby Miwa. The guys begin to see history change as April and Casey's photos are beginning to fade, so they take fate into their own hands. Saki burns the Hamato clan symbol and starts the Evil Foot clan. Saki finds the dojo and begins to have a hate-filled brawl with Yoshi. During the chaos, candles are struck and the entire building is set on fire. Tang Shen runs back into the burning dojo and is accidentally struck and killed by Saki, right in Yoshi's arms. Saki then finds Miwa crying outside of the blaze, takes her, and renames her Karai. The Turtles are distraught over what they just witnessed. They couldn't believe it, and they save their unconscious future master from the collapsing building. Renee finally comes back in to send the Turtles back to present-day New York, and the guys can't wait to see their father. This episode really made you feel emotions, which isn't easy for a cartoon to do. It gave the Turtles much new perspective on how they came to be and the trials and tribulations that their sensei went through. Number 1, Annihilation Earth, Parts 1 and 2. Just like my number 1 episodes from the first 2 seasons, the 2-part season finale takes the number 1 spot for season 3. One word, or should I say one name, Bishop. He tracks down the turtles and tells them his origins, that he's a member of the Utroms, not the Krang. He says that the Triceratons are coming to destroy Earth, and the Krang have the Technodrome back, ready for another attack. The team first goes after the Technodrome, but is soon confronted with the bigger problem of the Triceratons getting very close to Earth. They easily blast the Technodrome to bits and land in New York. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Splinter and April take a huge risk of asking the Shredder for help. They're initially captured, but the Shredder's evil love of Karai leads him to making the truce to save Earth. All this time, Mikey was captured and on a Triceraton ship being interrogated, but was eventually rescued by the Turtles. The Triceraton's way of destroying the Earth is this black hole generator, the most dangerous weapon in the entire universe. The good guys and bad guys are all fighting side by side, attempting to defeat the Triceratons. Seeing Splinter and Shredder fight alongside each other showed how powerful that they could be together. But this was just much too good to be true. As the timer of the black hole generator was nearing zero, the Shredder murders Splinter. You can literally see the Shredder's gauntlet spikes going right through his chest. The black hole generator has started and the entire planet will soon be gone. But at the last second, a ship, captained by Professor Honeycutt, the Fugitoid, shows up and takes in the Turtles, April, and Casey before they're sucked up. Look at the Turtlepedia page for this episode. Literally everyone on Earth died. But the Turtles have a second chance to rewrite history. But I'm sure all of that will be covered in my video for Season 4. And one more note on this episode, it almost didn't make number 1 because of the last line of the episode. Casey shouts out, "This is awesome," as they fly through space, even though Splinter and the entire planet just died 2 minutes prior. I know the show's writers had to make him say that to downplay Splinter just getting murdered, but it was still really aggravating. Well guys, that's my top 10 list for Season 3. I know I haven't made one of these videos for a while, and that's because they take a decent amount of time, but I thank each and every one of you guys for watching, and I hope you give me your top few episodes from Season 3 in the comments down below. Season 4 will be up next, but not before we tackle Season 5 of the 2003 series, which will only be a top 5 list since the season was only 12 episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching, subscribe for more, and peace out.